Going to explain how these vasanas are created. You said they start from emptiness, but here this is just looking at from a jiva's point of view. Krishna's explained to Arjuna. He says, when you dwell on objects, dwell means to think. When you consistently think about an object, then what happens? It says attachment arises. Why? Because you think about an object because it's attractive to you. Or unattractive. If it's a fear object, if it's a negative object, when you think about it, then you get attached also, because you're thinking about it. And then what happens? This attachment to the object, like sex, okay? You think, that's a great object. Everybody thinks about that, don't they? Why are people attached to sex? Because they think about sex. So what? So what? When you dwell on objects, attachment arises. Then what happens with it? What's the next stage? Attachment causes desire. Now you start really wanting that object. The more you think about it, the more attached you get, then you start to really want that object. And then what happens? When desire is obstructed, anger arises. Now, why does anger arise? You can see where anger comes from. Anger is obstructed desire. Well, why does anger arise? Because the objects are what? Are in a field of duality, in a field of change, in a field of time. And the object that you want is often not available. Or when you look like you're going to possess that object, you have that object, then reality or Ishwar takes the object away. Or there's some obstacle or block to my gaining the object. So what is anger? It's just frustrated desire. It's just thwarted desire. It's an outward moving energy. It's rajas, it's rajoguna. So you're moving out toward the object, always going away. And then what? Now there's a barrier. The anger hit the desire hits the barrier, and what happens? It turns to anger. You're not angry because of something somebody did a long time ago. You're angry because right now you're not getting what you want. If you say X and somebody says no, I disagree, immediately anger will come, won't it? Because you feel that your idea has been blocked by that person, so you immediately become angry with that person, simply because your desire has been thwarted or frustrated. Then you want them to appreciate or accept that thought or that idea that you're putting forward. Then what? Then, when your mind is angry, what happens the next stage? Angry is rajas. Desire is rajas, then the anger is rajas, it increases. And what does that do? It produces tamas. Whenever you do too much action, you get dull. Isn't it? Whenever you're too active, then you get tired. It's just the way it works. So when you've got too much desire, then you have a lot of anger. Often that's just repressed anger. You don't even know you're angry. You just, you keep focusing on what you want, but you don't see the anger building up underneath. And then what happens? You get deluded. Your mind gets cloudy and dull. And now what? Now what? And delusion leads to loss of memory. In other words, you can't remember what you're here for. You can't remember what you really want. Remember, I want freedom. And now, when I get when I have desire and get angry and then I get deluded, I forget what my goal is. I lose my direction. That's why I get confused. Now, many people come to these talks because they're confused. They've lost their direction. When they hear that they want freedom, they're, oh my God, you're right, I want freedom. Now it makes sense. But they've completely forgotten that they wanted freedom because they were all depressed and deluded because of their desires had caused that delusion. And then it says what? When memory goes, when you can't remember what you want, then your mind is incapacitated. In other words, your mind doesn't work properly. It means your discrimination is faulty. You start making the wrong choices. You can't tell what's real from what isn't real. You can't tell what's right from what's wrong. And so you make the wrong choices. And then what? The mind becomes incapacitated, and when the mind no longer functions properly, one's life is destroyed. That doesn't mean you die physically, it means spiritually you're dead. And where did it all start? Just what? Thinking about some objects. Huh? See the slippery slope? Huh? See how that vasanas build up and take you further and further away from where you're going? Huh? Well, what's the conclusion that I should draw? Is that I should dwell on something that what? Is true and pure and perfect. It's not some object. I should dwell. In other words, I should think about myself all the time. Think about myself means what? I should look at everything that happens in light of the knowledge that I'm whole and complete. In light of the knowledge that I'm free. You should think I'm free. If you're whole and complete, you're free. So freedom equals being whole and being complete. So that idea should be, that was what I should be dwelling on. That will not lead to anger. That will not lead to what? Delusion. That will not lead to loss of discrimination and compassion and incapacitation. That will lead to what? Bliss, fullness, happiness. In that dark daylight world in which all beings sleep, the wise person who has mastered the senses is awake. Master the senses means control the vasanas. Understand the vasanas, looks at them, steps back and observes what's happening. And if you can't keep the thoughts from disturbing you, at least control the senses, control the actions, so you don't create karma. Because when you create unwanted karma, then your mind's going to get disturbed again. There's a beautiful verse here. Just as water flows into an ocean, leaving the ocean unchanged, objects arising in the mind of a self-realized person leave it unchanged. How cool is that? Huh? When the thoughts come, and they rise and they disappear, what? The mind remains steady. Even if anger comes, it's like a cloud and it disappears and the mind remains steady, still. It accommodates all emotions in it. It's like the ocean accommodates. No matter how much water pours into the ocean just remains the same. But the desirer of objects is never peaceful. If you want stuff, you're just not going to be peaceful. And these people don't want objects. That's why we're talking about enlightened people. They don't want objects. They don't want love. They don't want security. They don't want pleasure. They don't want virtue. They don't want power. They don't want entertainment. They don't want anything. Because they're so full and happy inside themselves that they know that nothing that comes from that, no object can add to that happiness. The one who abandons the belief in I and mine and moves through life without longing is peaceful. Now, how can you give up the idea that something belongs to me? How can you do that? By understanding Ishvara. What does that mean? That means understanding that everything belongs to Ishvara. If nothing belongs to me, do I have to keep anything? Do I have? Even when I think I have it, does it belong to me? Even when you say this is my body, is it actually your body? Well, if it's your body, then why don't you keep it when Ishvara wants to take it away? Huh? If it's your body. Huh? Ishvara's going to come one day. He's going to knock on your door. And he's going to say, it's in the form of Mr. Death. He's going to say, excuse me, I'd like your body. He said, oh no, it's my body. You can't have my body. You think that's going to work? You think Ishvara cares that you think it's your body? Ishvara doesn't care. Ishvara just takes your body. Sorry, got the wrong idea. This is my body. I'm taking it back. Boom. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, dust, return it. It comes from the ashes, it comes from dust, and back it goes. It's not yours. And these people know that. Your thoughts. Are those my thoughts? Oh, they're your thoughts. Okay, well then just keep them. Don't change them. They're your thoughts, you own those thoughts, you're in control of those thoughts? Good. Well, just hang on to the thought you got right now and just keep it for 10 minutes. Can you do it? You can't do it. Why? Because they're Ishvara's thoughts. Ishvara's doing the thinking, and Ishvara's going to force you to change your thoughts whether you like it or not. In other words, they're not your thoughts.